Hello, this is Sabina at Cross Keys Crafts with another little Christmas card. This card was inspired by this die I bought recently in Germany at a shop called Action. I believe it's actually a Dutch shop, so it probably exists in the Netherlands as well. And this actually makes a rabbit or a little chicken that can hold a carrot, a flower, or a little cake. These are the little dies that come with these. But when I saw this, by the way, it was only about €3.80, so the equivalent of £3.20, I think, which is a really good price point. But when I saw this die and I saw this shape, I actually thought of using this as a penguin. So that's what I'm going to do with this card. So I die cut this from black cardstock, and what this die does, it puts a score line on either side that it can actually fold over the wings and the animals can hold something. By the way, I always keep this part of the packaging as a reference for all the little bits, otherwise you might not remember how to use all these. And what you need to do when you've got something like this, because obviously if you flip this over, this is the back of the die cut, and you always get these little edges where you've basically, it shows that it's the back of the die. And all you need to do is you take your bone folder and you just flatten that out, so it won't be as obvious that this is the back of the die. And that makes just a little difference, but it does make a difference. So, but obviously, with it being a rabbit and a chicken die, it doesn't have all the parts that you need for the penguin. It does have the little feet, because they're the same as the chicken ones. So I cut two out of bright orange cardstock, so that'll be nice. But in order to make it a penguin, I need some sort of middle bit, and I obviously didn't have that with the die. I actually thought it would sort of emboss the middle bit, but it doesn't. So all I did was I took an oval die. I just took one of my ovals from my stash, from my nesting dies, and I cut this out. It made actually some sort of frame around it as well, which I just cut off with my scissors. And then I just made some indentation on the top. I just cut this bit off. By the way, these are just two little dots where I marked where I want the eyes to go. And that's all I needed to make basically a middle bit to sit on the tummy and to incorporate the eyes there. And another thing I die cut was I needed something that the penguin holds. I decided to go for a little star, but any die cut from your stash or any embellishment would work in the middle there. So just have a look around in your stash what you already do have. I don't want to entice you to buy new dies. I want to give you an idea what you can do if you don't have the dies you think you need. For that purpose, I brought out some other dies that you can actually use to make Christmas cards. I've got this little rabbit here. I saw this online a few months back, and it was all the rave, and people were using it in different contexts. And again, you could cut this out and then create like a little Santa hat, or colour it in like a Santa coat, just to make it Christmassy. And the same works with dies like this. If you have got a cat, again, you could just cut by hand, or maybe you've got a different die. You could cut some Santa hats for this one, or something else, something Christmassy, maybe just a ribbon with a little bell on it, something like that. And the same for this would look nice. And you could just, as I said, do a Santa hat, or this foliage here, you could create that in white or glittery to just make it more Christmassy. So see what you've got in your stash that you can use to create Christmas cards. What I found in my stash was this little, sorry, I'm going off screen every now and then, I've got everything spread out on my table. I've got this little hat. This goes with a much smaller snowman die actually, but I thought it might actually look quite funny being so small. It looks a bit comical, which I think is okay. Obviously, again, I could have cut this by hand, but I quite like it like this. So, and then also in my stash, I already had a card base with the mat on it already, with a background, and it's a good opportunity to use this up. And obviously, the pattern paper is perfect for the penguin. So all I need to do now is to just glue these all together, and for that purpose, I'm going to speed up the video. So one thing I forgot to mention is I've also cut, because it's disappeared on the table here, I've cut myself a little oval from this, from my letter dies, because I needed a little mouth, and I just need to find that on the table. And it's disappeared. I'll be back. So just when I cut myself another one, I found the other one under my bone folder, but that's typical of me and crafting, so that's okay. So all I've done is, as I said, I've taken the inside of the O just as a little oval, and I've just drawn a little line for the gap in the beak there, and that just gets glued down as well. If you've got very small elements, sorry, I'm going off screen here, I'm just trying to pick this up, it's always good to have these locking tweezers, because then you don't get your fingers in the way and it's easy to get the placement right. And all that's left to do now is use my Dovecraft Pearl Effects, the black dots, and to put in the eyes. Always do this on the side. Just squeeze it off a bit, make sure it's not stuck anything. So giving it quite a big blob, because I want the eyes to be rather big. Make sure they're sort of equal. And then from underneath, give it a tap. I just use my bone folder so they flatten out a bit more. I will actually open it up a bit to have a bigger impact. There you can go. You can see now how they've enlarged and they are much flatter. So that's it. My little card with a cute penguin. And as I said, hopefully this is some inspiration of how you can use your own dies and get creative with what you have. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.